I thank the ranking member, and I now recognize the gentleman from North Carolina, Mr. Bishop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield to the gentleman from Texas presiding, Mr. Roy.
I thank the gentleman. Question for the panel. I mean, what amount of death and destruction among the people of Texas or any other state is sufficient to say the state should take action under the law? Like, how much death should Texas take? How many Texans should die every day? Again, fentanyl, we've got 75,000 across the country, whatever the thousands are in Texas. How many of those should die every year before the state of Texas does something about it? Okay, put aside the fentanyl because, oh, that's all ports of entry problem. That's all bogus. We could have that debate separately. There are other issues with that. Border Patrol is distracted. But I would just say, Mr. Webster, as someone who's a Texan, what is your answer to that question, right? Before Texas takes action, the governor is taking action, in the absence of action from the President of the United States, do you think there is a level of death, destruction, danger to the people of Texas that he should tolerate in the absence of the federal government doing his job?
No, there's no, I think the governor has a duty and obligation to protect the citizens of Texas, and when he sees harms coming upon Texas, he has an obligation to act, and has. Yeah,
Mr. Jabwat, I mean, is there a level of danger to the people of Texas that you believe would say the governor has a right to go defend itself, as in a family whose house is being invaded at night, has people coming in and trying to attack one's family? Does the governor not have some duty to be able to defend? For example, if cartels came across the Rio Grande, guns a-blazing, not wearing a uniform of Mexico, but just a hodgepodge of individuals in various articles of clothing came across guns a-blazing into Laredo and said, could the governor repel that with DPS? Not the National Guard. Could the governor say, you guys, boys, shoot back?
Are you asking whether the Texas has the police power to address armed people running around in the streets
coming
guns?
Across the Rio Grande, they're armed. Can the governor repel
Once
that?
they're in the state of Texas, if they're violating Texas's criminal laws, of course the governor has the ability.
So if they're violating Texas's criminal laws, apparently the governor can do something about it. That's an interesting observation. I think it's an important one, because of course the governor of Texas can deal with it if the laws of Texas are being violated, and the people that the governor is supposed to represent is entitled to defend them. I would ask another question, which is, would the states, in this case, Texas or Arizona, we have two representatives from those two states here, past and present, would those states have entered the union had the theory being promulgated by my colleagues on the left been openly put forward and said that the federal government, will not enforce immigration laws to the tune of 900,000 releases last year, plus hundreds of thousands of more through parole, plus hundreds of thousands more gotaways, overwhelming the jails that we said, oh, sure, just use the jails, go do it, go arrest people that are bad actors, filling the jails, filling the hospitals, filling the schools. If the federal government had said, here's the deal, Arizona, here's the deal, Texas, can you, either of you gentlemen, imagine a scenario in which Arizona or Texas would have joined the union? Texas in 1845, and forgive me for not knowing the year from Arizona. You, Mr. Brnovich, or Mr. Biggs would know. Mr. Webster, could you answer that question? Would they have joined the union under that theory?
I mean, if I was there, I can't imagine taking on a situation where I would be defenseless. And what you're proposing is a situation where Texas would be defenseless.
Correct. Mr. Brnovich, can you imagine that scenario?
Well, I will just go as we talk about first principles and documents, and Mr. Webster just spoke. So let me quote from Daniel Webster's 1806 dictionary, the first American dictionary. At that time, the word invaded was defined to mean enter or seize in a hostile manner. Webster's 1828 dictionary, furthermore, went to describe invasion to include attack, assault, assail, to attack or infringe or encroach on and violate. And if you look, with all due respect to my colleague at the end of the table, he had mentioned James Madison. Look, I mean, during the constitutional debates, if you read Federalist 43, you read the original Federalist Papers, the states entered this union. The states created the federal government with an expectation that the president, the commander-in-chief, would exercise authority when it came to, the commander-in-chief authority in defending the states. However, that's why if you have to read this all together, Article 1, Section 10, and Article 4, the states have this inherent right to defend themselves when the federal government will not do its job. And so it's not an offensive or a proactive power, so to speak. It is defensive in nature, that every state has the ability to defend itself and its citizens from either state or non-state hostile actors.
Well, I agree, and I appreciate the comments from the gentleman from Arizona, the Attorney General. I appreciate that. And with that, I'm going to recognize the chairman of the Judiciary Committee, the